Bam. So, in last video, I said I wanted to talk about something, so let's talk about programming. What's up, crew? I want to do more sit and talks. I enjoy sitting down and providing my opinion on whatever's on my mind, whatever questions you might have, and I think that I can provide a lot of value with that. And like I've said before, my current content schedule it's in a weird holding pattern because I've lost my message that I was trying to deliver on here, and that's placing a certain spot in the Open and then afterwards trying to qualify for regionals. I'm a little too far set back now to do that, and I think that my motivations are changing, and now it's time for me to focus on other things. I will continue to fitness. I love CrossFit, just need to take it slow, and that's what the other part of this content will be. But for today, I want to talk about something that's come up a couple times. Most recently, it was in the sit and talk video. I mentioned you guys leaving comments on stuff you wanted to hear about, and the one thing that came up was, what squat program do I follow? What squat program does Neal follow? And what squat program should you follow? And it's an interesting question, and I definitely have an opinion on it, so I'd love to share that with you. 3 scenarios that I'd like to cover in relation to that question. But first, let's answer the what do I and Neal follow. I'm gonna start with Neal because it's pretty simple. He follows HyperFit USA, and to be honest, from what I can tell, there's no real structured program for squatting. They will test the squat max at some point, and then afterwards there will be some progression to how heavy you're taking it, the intensity, the on the minutes, but there's no 10 squats week 1, 12 squats week 2, 8 squats week 3. It's just, 1 week it'll be a 10-minute EMOM where you're doing 1 at a time, or a 3-minute on them every 3 minute where you're doing 5 to 10 reps. But it does develop strength. For me personally, last time I followed a squat program was in college, which is now 7 years ago. I'm getting old. That was just because I was a football player, and as an athlete you followed the program that the strength and conditioning coach put together. It's a great program, and at that time it made sense to be on a very strict program because for my sport I needed to have strong legs, I needed to be powerful and explosive. Fast forward to now, I haven't touched a specific squat program. I've done Invictus, Comp Train, done HyperFit USA, Outlaw, and I've tried one other program. What is it? I've done my own program before, I've done a gym's program before, and none of them have an actual squat program, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Let's run back to the 3 different scenarios that you might find yourself in when you're trying to figure out whether or not you want to be on a squat program. And I'm going to be obviously heavily specific to CrossFitters and people that are training CrossFit. So number 1, you are a CrossFit member or general member, and you're using CrossFit as a supplement to help get you in shape and find the fittest version of yourself. 2, you're a CrossFit athlete, as I like to call it, someone who thinks that they're regionals level, thinks that they're miraculously going to make it to the games. Not to put anyone down, but it is kind of one of those goals that you have to be dedicated for. And the 3rd one is you are a CrossFit athlete, like an actual, you've been to regionals, you're training for the games, the damn air conditioner just turned on. I need to turn that off when I come out here to talk. So to start, you're a general member. Let's talk about you first. Squat programs are not going to be super essential to you. I actually had this question come up with a member at Extreme, and I gave the best answers I possibly could. And it's a tricky answer, right? So what you have to do as a general member, someone who works a 9-to-5 job or has other responsibilities other than being the fittest person on earth, is you got to ask yourself, what is your goal? Are you trying to become the fittest version of yourself, or do you want to have a squat that's over 500 pounds? To get the squat over 500 pounds, you have to be on the Wendler, you have to be on one of those top tier squatting programs that focuses specifically on building squat strength. And on the side of it, you can still do CrossFit, but it cannot be super high intensity, way too much volume when it comes to like air squats or any other type of squat. You have to specifically be working on that back squat. You can mix in a front, mix in an overhead, but ultimately you want to put heavy weight on your back to build that squat. And that's sort of a blanket answer for everybody, but specifically for the general member, you do not need to worry about that squat unless it's a goal of yours to squat heavy. Otherwise, most gyms are not going to program that type of cycle because it takes a lot of nurturing. It's very, very personal. You have to know your numbers and you have to approach it with the right intensity. And when you couple that with having to cram in a full warm-up and a full WOD, you can no longer get an hour-long class. It has to be an hour and 30 minutes. That was long-winded, but I think it was valuable. I hope it was. Moving on to your CrossFit athlete. This is similar to a general member, but it has the aspiration of being an athlete or doing the sport a little bit more than just showing up every day and getting an hour workout. You're doing CrossFit at your gym, and then you're also doing programming that is specific to building your squat strength or any other strength like deadlift and press. Tricky part here is finding the right gym to do that, and that can be hard. Like extreme is not necessarily the right place to do it because of the size of the gym. There is an opportunity to do it, but when it gets busy there's no room to do your own thing. Most gyms do not promote doing your own thing. They want you to come in and do what they believe is best for your crew, which is great. That means that they are dedicated to what you're doing. If they were to let you to do whatever you wanted to do, some people might abuse that and it turns into a Globo gym. Nothing wrong with it, honestly. That means you're a weekend warrior, you have an aspiration to make it to regionals. Hopefully your ego is checked and you're not planning to go to the games. Always got to take it one step at a time. Here, you're doing a regular CrossFit program and you're picking a squat program to stick to. But realize that that is not the only pieces of the puzzle if you are a CrossFit athlete. Here's your answer to what squat program should you be if you are in that tier. So as a general CrossFit member, don't worry about it. You know, you're gonna get the strength you need as long as your gym is programming the right type of CrossFit elements. If you are a CrossFit athlete, you have a decision to make. It's, are you going to implement back squats at a heavy load here and there so that you're building strength, or are you gonna pick one of those top tier programs to follow? But my answer to what program should I follow, it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. I've heard success from all the different types. I think one's called Zercher, Wendler, and I'm sure there's plenty of others. I'm sure MASH Elite has one. I'm sure John North from Attitude Nation has one. Cal Strength probably has a squat program. They're all the same. They might have different elements to it or how they progress you, but they're all going to get you to the same goal. It's the same with CrossFit programming. Whenever someone asks what program should I be on, it doesn't matter. Honestly, what matters is sticking to the program. If you jump into a program and you find out you don't like it, that's one thing, but if you jump into a program and decide that it's not doing anything for you and you only gave it a month or two, you didn't give that program a chance. So pick a program, stick to it. The final tier is you are a CrossFit athlete. You've made it to regionals and you're working on going to the games. Obviously my opinion is a little less weighted here because I've never done so, but my answer based on working out with Neal is honestly you just need to do what you got to do to get to that level of athleticism. From experience, Neal, like I said, doesn't follow a very specific squatting cycle program, but what he does do is hit heavy loads at least 3 times a week, has it at a high level intensity. And that might be one of the next videos, honestly, is intensity, because that's definitely a question that's come up a lot. Hopefully this made a lot more sense or added more value than the previous sit and talk. The last sit and talk, I actually came up with the topic on the spot. This one I've been sort of marinating after I saw the comment and just decided today was the day to sit down and talk about it. Wrote down a few points that I wanted to talk about, but I'm not sure if there was a general message. The one takeaway I think is just pick a program if you want to do it, but realize if you're a general member and you don't have time to do a separate program, don't worry about a squat program. But if you do want to build your squat to something heavy, you either need to leave that gym unless they have open hours, taper down your Metcons and do just squats. If you're a CrossFit athlete, then you probably have time to do both. Just pick a program. It doesn't matter what program it is, just pick it. It's gonna get you to where you need to be. Lastly, if you're a CrossFit athlete, you don't need my opinion because you're probably going to the games at some point. That's today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. If it was chaotic, let me know. I'd really like to know. If it was informative and you enjoyed it, even better. And then let me know what you want to know next. Like, what questions do you have? What can I try to answer for you? I'm gonna keep doing this type of thing as much as possible. I'm gonna change the background as much as possible so that I'm like a real YouTuber and have a cool scene that's the same every single time for this type of sit and talk. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.